As an American, do you have the right to free speech? I would say no. I think this is obvious. Um, even the First of all, you can't just speak out about anything. Okay, in America, it just doesn't work that way. You can't just go, out on any street corner and just bring your picket signs and say, you know what, I'm going to picket here and I'm going to yell at the top of my lungs and speak out against things that I feel need to be addressed. You have what are called designated free speech zones, which you have to get a permit for from the county or state or whatever, from authority. So I don't think you really have the freedom of speech. You have a conditional privilege which can be revoked at any time. Also, there was, if I understand correctly, there was actually a recent piece of legislation that was passed that stated that the president now has the power to put certain individuals under an umbrella of protection, under the protection of the Secret Service. So if Joe Schmo is at a certain place having a meeting or a conference or whatever, and you decide you want to protest against this person, you could be jailed and arrested and incarcerated and held against your will, abducted, and thrown into jail for protesting against this protected person that the president has decided to protect for whatever reason. So, do you really have the freedom of speech? I would argue, in its strictest sense, no, you don't really have the freedom of speech. You have whatever the government allows you to say and wherever the government allows you to say it, but you don't really have freedom of speech. So you can't just say anything in America. It just doesn't work. Now, do you have the right to privacy? I think it's even silly that I should even have to ask this question, because obviously we do not. Anyone would know this who hasn't recently crawled out of a fucking cave. I think it's fairly clear that the government under Homeland Security can monitor anyone and label them a terrorist and monitor their internet transactions, their internet activity, their phone calls, whatever, dig through their fucking garbage. They can pretty much do that to anyone and make up any excuse they want. A cop, if you're walking down the street, all he has to do is make up some reason for, quote, probable cause to stop you like a Gestapo and ask you for your fucking papers, or as they call it, your identification. So you don't really have the right to privacy in its strictest sense. At any time, the government could make up a reason to come into your house without a warrant and abduct you and kidnap you and label you a terrorist if they so choose, and it's your word against theirs. So this isn't really a democracy here. This really isn't the whole idea of freedom, of American freedom and the land of the free and the home of the brave is just a bunch of bullshit. It's an illusion that has been pulled over people's eyes. So I don't think we have the freedom of privacy either, because that is just a conditional freedom that is waiting to be ripped from you. So, again, I'm sure I will think of other things to bitch about and, other so-called freedoms to talk about in a future video. So stay tuned. And if you have any other, if you want to leave some examples of freedoms that we that are claimed that we have, but we don't really have, go ahead and leave those in the description box or make a video response to this. I would appreciate that. Any interaction. All I ask is, again, as I said in the last video, if you're going to communicate with me, please do so with respect. Please don't resort to ridicule. Actually deal with the statements and propositions that I put forth, and don't be an asshole. Don't be irrational. Actually logically deal with what I'm saying. Have logical counter arguments, and don't try to be brutish, because I will just ignore you. If not, I will just totally ignore you and label you as a waste of my fucking time. So, that's the way it goes. For those of you who have watched this video, thank you. And please rate, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz.